Dear Leo, welcome to your reading. It's Empress Rose here. This is my fourth attempt to start this reading. It keeps getting interrupted, so I'm feeling a little amused right now. So we're going to start with the Oracle of Mystical Moments deck for an intuitive vibe of where we're going today. And then we'll move to a more traditional tarot spread and tarot reading with the Santa Muerte deck. And then hopefully if we have enough time, we'll do the Kuan Yin Oracle, the Wild Kuan Yin. So these are general readings. So we're going to take what works. We're going to leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. If I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this reading, go check your other major placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or check any placement that you like, that you're proud of, that you're curious about, anything like that. As long as you're taking what works and leaving what doesn't, and not trying to force scenarios onto your life. And you should know pretty early on in a reading whether it's for you or not. Although sometimes, sometimes there'll be a card at the end that kind of rearranges the interpretation of the cards at the beginning. It can be a little fascinating. But so Leo, we're gonna start with this intuitive vibe. What kind of cards we got for Leo this week? With this Oracle Mystical Moments deck, my favorite deck of all time, but it makes my readings very long because I could talk about each card for a very long time. All right, so we have the perfect key. We have something locked away here, but you're thinking about opening it up. This is probably your heart. We locked your heart away. It was very wounded and you went into a protective mode. You're starting to wonder if some part of your heart, some part of your spirit here, represented by this bird, would like to open it back up. Do you think we could open it back up? Do you think we could unlock that chamber? Do you think we could unlock what's back there? This may actually be like a deep childhood wound or something. And you have made yourself emotionally unavailable, which makes total sense. And it's your first instinct when something is wounded is to protect it. We all have these defensive modes, self-protection modes, right? So you've been protecting something. It might have been, for a couple months. It might have been for years. It might have been for decades. But you're thinking about opening it up. That'd be a really big step. That would be a really big step. And there's something that's calling you to do that. There's something, maybe a situation in your life, or maybe a person in your life, or maybe you're feeling safe finally, or maybe it's like, if I don't start talking about this, I'm just gonna ruin my whole life, or not ruin. I don't think lives can be ruined, but it could just be something's causing you to consider it. At least consider opening up a chamber that you've closed off, right? Thinking about it, but you have your doubts, and who wouldn't, right? This world can be very painful. So who wouldn't? But you're thinking about it. It's somewhere back in the past. I don't know how far back. It'll be different for all of you. But it might be time to open up. This can also be about a situation that's been really stuck or jammed, and you don't know quite how to handle it or quite what to do with it, and you're bringing in this key here. Oh, this reminds me. I got this card once when I wasn't getting along with somebody, with a coworker, and I didn't know what to do about it, and this card came up, and it was like, oh, you're gonna find something. But what I found was actually it was being a little more open with them, and that's what, like, I needed to be more open and a little less guarded with them. I would not say that that's the case with a lot of people that you're not getting along with, but that was the case here. And asking her the right questions to getting her heart to open up and getting her to open up to me, so that we could create some sort of rapport between us instead of having just this jamming every time we're together. So we understand each other a lot better now. But it did involve like a little bit more heart to heart, and I had the right key to open her up, and that helped me open up too once she opened up to me. So as an example of what that card can be about, it's about opening up, and it's either you finding a way to open up yourself or you finding a way to help somebody else open up, but getting something flowing. And it has to do with heart and emotion and feeling. And then we also have the gardener. So this is taking care of yourself. Oh, but I don't want to say that this is that you have to do this, right? You are just being asked to consider possible ways. And you might have the right key here. You might have a good opportunity or a good way to do it. And you're thinking about it. But I don't want to say that you're wrong to have protected yourself, because there are all sorts of situations in life where we do need to protect ourselves, and we do need to protect our hearts, and we do need to not be so open with some people, right? So this is just considerate, thinking about it. And I guess the reason why that changed a little bit was because we got this gardener card here, and this is taking care of yourself, is taking care of your community, weeding your own garden, making sure you're not spending time, energy, money, water, sunshine on things you don't really want. Those would be the weeds in your life. Like, I don't really like doing this. Why am I doing this? So stop spending so much time on it. This is curating your life, curating your time expenditures, making sure that you have a collection of things that you love in your life, and taking care of yourself, right? Gardening yourself, because when you take care of yourself, you're bringing a better self. When you're not, and I don't want to say making ourselves better, because that almost seems like you're not good enough, you need to be better. But loving yourself and caring for yourself, you bring a much more whole self out into the world. Every meeting you go to, every group you're a part of, your family groups, your friend groups, all of that. When you take care of yourself, you bring a better, healthier self out into the world. So that's what this card is. Caring for yourself is caring for the world. Making sure that you're spending time and money and energy on things that you want to grow. Like, she's going to bring this stuff to farmer's market. She's going to bring this little bulb to farmer's market, and she's going to sell her little wares there. And if she's got a lot of weeds, her carrots are going to be gross, holey, ugly. They won't have grown very well if she hasn't been fertilizing her garden properly and taking care of things properly. She'll bring just some shitty, worn out veggies to the market. No one's really going to be that interested in it. So the key to your success, the key to your community's success is for you to take care of yourself. This is very much a self-care is world care. Self-peace, peace within is world peace. You being responsible for your corner of the world and taking responsibility for that, and what's going on up here and what's going on in here, you taking responsibility for all of that, is you taking responsibility for your measure of what measure of world peace you are responsible for, what measure of, a cool universe. A healthy society is made up of healthy individuals. So the first thing you're doing to help make our society healthy is to make sure you're healthy, and to make sure you're only spending your time and money on things that, on the things that you want to spend on, making conscious choices about what you're growing and what you're not growing in your little garden of your heart and mind and life. All right, Leo. This is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue? Your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. In the past, you have been the Empress. You have felt that you have had everything you needed. You felt a lot of clarity, a lot of abundance. A lot of this grew out of a broken heart, or, feeling broken, feeling wounded. But you know what? You overcame all of that. You were strong. You had everything you needed. You grew. You changed. You had a lot of power and control over yourself, over your life. You felt very secure, very secure. And then what happened? We've got Two of Wands here. A very volatile situation has come in here. Planning for battle, planning for war, preparing for battle. You're bringing guns to a knife fight. Like, this is this deck has an interesting, a very unique take on this card, but I kind of like it. It is preparing for battle. because in the original Rider-Waite's, not original Rider-Waite's. People think that the Rider-Waite deck is like the original deck, but the tarot decks have been changing and transforming ever since it began, and no one can really even pinpoint when that was. So, it's like, So it's the most famous one and the one most referenced. So, but it is in that deck, it is an Army general or Navy general planning out his, or no, is that the one? Anyway, it's typically somebody who's making plans, figuring out what they're going to do. I feel like figuring out how to conquer the world or where their ships are. There's a lot of logic and thinking things through. So we're at the beginning of like a inspiring thing, but in this deck really goes with the preparing for battle, ready for war. Very unsettled energy here in this deck, and I believe Tarot knows what deck I'm using. So in this very unsettled, volatile situation, you went from having everything you need, sitting in repose, calm, self-controlled, and now you're like armored to the teeth. You're bringing the guns. You're bringing the big guns here. You are prepared for battle. You are prepared to shoot first. You are preparing for, you're in the middle of a volatile situation and you are preparing for it. You are making your preparations for what you need to do. I don't know how we went from Empress to Wands, but sometime in your past you felt good, you had everything you need, and now suddenly you're in a battle, you're in a pitched battle for your life here, and it's very unsettled energy, very chaotic, dangerous, possibly dangerous situation where you're planning for battle, you're ready. You're not going to be caught flat-footed on this one. And then what you're hoping for is this 10 of Wands. Safety. Here's what you're hoping for. This is a lot about, in this deck, this card is a lot about security. So it's just straight base chakra issues here. Safety, security. That's really on your mind, and you're going to protect, this is sacral chakra stuff too. You have got safety on the mind, self-preservation on the mind. So safety, security, preservation. It's a very passionate time here. This 2 of Wands and this 10 of Wands here. A lot of inflamed passions. Typically the 10 of Wands would be putting down a burden, but I think this card goes a little deeper than that, to a sense of safety, a sense of entitlement, a sense of freedom to put the burden down, to a place where it's safe and okay to put the burden down, and that you don't deserve to be carrying this anymore. You don't deserve this anymore. It is the end of a cycle. It is being done with something. So you're feeling, whether you've been able to manifest this or bring this cycle to a close, you're feeling very done with something. And you know what? I'm looking at this Gardener card, and I'm looking at this card about safety, security, and we were already talking about taking care of yourself, right? The base chakra, I would like to call it the foundation chakra. Some people, to me, this is the foundation of all the other ones. If you're not feeling worthy, if you don't feel if you're not worthy of your own care, your own time, your own affection, if you don't feel worthy of that, how are you going to be moving up into other higher levels here when we've just got to get the baseline down? The baseline is you are worthy, you deserve to be here, to be cared for, you are here for a reason, the universe has put you here, and for as long as you are here, you are meant to be here. The universe will take you out when it's your time. So we don't need to worry about like, do I belong here? That's not what's going on here at all. You do belong here. And so I feel like there's this self-care aspect here. Oh my gosh. And then protecting yourself, armored here, very self-protective mode. And yeah, maybe you're just beginning, because when we first begin to understand that we have value and we have worth, no matter what anybody else does or says, and that inherent worth, this 10 of Wands is just yelling at me. It's this whole this Two of Wands has raised the pitch here, and then this Ten of Wands is yelling at me about a self-worth, right? And we can't change that. That doesn't change with anything, because when you were a precious, gorgeous, amazing little newborn infant, shitting on everybody, peeing on everybody, barfing on everybody, and just able to scream, you had as much value and worth as you have right now. So there's nothing you can do that diminishes your inherent worth. How other people appreciate you and what they need from you, that's a different story. But this could be that defensiveness that comes from really starting to get a grasp of your self-worth and how you've been treated and how you've allowed others to treat you because of poor self-worth issues that might go back quite a ways here. So you may be getting very defensive or ready to fight for that, and in a way that you've never fought for that before. What's at issue here is this Nine of Swords, the Nightmare card. You could be waking up from a nightmare of low self-esteem, low self-worth, carrying things that were never yours to carry, taking on other people's issues and frustrations. So you could be emerging out of that very self-defensive, and that's just a time period, don't get stuck there, but if you need to be self-defensive for a while you do some deep healing of self-worth issues, go for it. That's what I say. If you don't like that, go find someone else to tell you. Which, I mean, really, like, you could get a therapist with this sort of issue, because that base chakra issue is so hard and so tricky. It's a foundation, and if your foundation is shaky, it's definitely worth reaching out to a professional to get a more solid foundation. You can build the rest up, but you need that solid foundation of self-worth and self-definition. I feel like boundaries have been crossed here as far as like other people having a say in your self-esteem, or that self-esteem gets put together early on by the people around us and how they interact with us, and then we learn how we deserve to be treated. I feel like there's some really deep self-esteem issue going on here. Anyway, but you've been in a nightmare, but it's in your own head. This is there's so much about some sort of deep emotional issue. I'm seeing a lot of self-worth issues here. Protecting yourself, needing to nurture yourself, needing to make sure you're taking care of yourself and bringing your healthiest self forward. But I don't see that you've been able to do that very well recently. So then we have this Eight of Swords. So Eight of Swords in the upright. The reversal would just be coming out of this situation, but this is the Nightmare card. You are physically safe. You are in the sanctuary. You're the priest of this sanctuary, and so you are in charge of all of your own thoughts. We were talking about that with the Gardener card. You're in charge of your own thoughts and your own hearts. What goes on in here and what goes on in here. And you've been torturing yourself. There's been anxiety. There's been fear. You've been torturing yourself here, and that, I think you're starting to stop that. I think you're putting that burden down. I think you're waking up from how much mental anguish you have caused yourself, either by putting yourself in situations that really challenge your self-esteem, or by not sort of taking at some point responsibility for wherever it came from. Whether you were gifted these issues from a young age or whatever, at some point it's your responsibility to fix them, right? So it's fine to look at where they came from. That can be very helpful. But at some point, the understanding is that you'll be fixing this. you didn't ask for it, but you've got to fix it, and that's really life for all of us. So, so coming out of some sort of nightmare of your own making, in your own mind, your own thoughts, maybe starting to realize how much your own thoughts have damaged you and led you astray. Yeah, and then in your environment, we have Eight of Cups. So this is a heavy emotional, emotions, very heavy, very on your mind. Your whole environment could be very emotional, very heavy right now. We're seeing volatility, but this is also bringing in a lot of heaviness, a lot of, I just see like volatility, anxiety, depression, base chakra issues of self-worth. It's pretty interesting reading here. So your environment is dark. It feels a little hopeless. It feels a little heavy. You're feeling there's been some sort of ending here that's draining and weighs on your mind, and it's very heavy and difficult to carry. I want to say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. There's some sort of, so there could be some sort of responsibility in your life right now that's just weighing incredibly heavily on you, and really bowing your head with its heaviness. Just, there's some sort of dark heaviness that's surrounding you right now. Well, remember when you felt like the Empress? Yeah. Just keep that in mind. You'll feel that way again. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then we have the Emperor in your to-do list. I love the Emperor in your to-do list. I love that we have an Empress here from your past. You are leveling up to Emperor. Emperor is all about control. Who's in charge? Who's in control? You are. You're in control of your own thoughts. You do not feel like it right now, but you are. And this is all about the gardener. Remember, weeding out what you don't want there. You're in charge. Become the gardener of your life. Get rid of that which is not working for you. Keep that which makes you happy, which brings you genuine joy. Take control of your own thoughts, really working on your mental hygiene. I don't know that you can control your environment, but if you can, take that ball, put it in your court. Like, don't even wait for them to pass it back to you. That's the Emperor for you. Divine right to rule. Rule what? Your life. You have a divine right to rule your life, to rule your thoughts, to rule your heart. You get to be in charge here. You are the sole proprietor of your life. So you need to come into that energy, really take control, really take charge of your thoughts, your life, what you want to do. You're in this defensive mode, that's fine, but build that that right, that ownership. And then I think there might be also a recognition that you still have everything you had as the Empress. You still have all that. All these other issues are, it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but you're still the Empress. You still actually are the Empress that you've always been. And you need to understand that and come into an understanding of that. But there's just some weeding out of your life that you need to do, some, going through your closet and getting rid of those clothes of who you are not anymore. If so you used to like, oh man. Yeah, so you used to like Birkenstocks. You don't like Birkenstocks anymore. Get rid of them. When you do like them again, if you ever do, you can go buy some or find some, right? Get rid of that which isn't you anymore, which doesn't fit you anymore, which isn't part of what you want, which isn't part of the life you want for yourself anymore, which doesn't bring you joy. It's causing anxiety, unsettled defensiveness. I mean, you're protecting something inside, right? But you need to come into some sort of ownership. And this is power. This is a display. This is the display of power, the self-protection. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. I'm going to beat you. This is, I'm in charge. I don't even have to say it because everybody knows it. Everybody feels it. I'm in charge of my life. I don't have to yell at anybody. I don't have to be self-defensive because I already have all the power. All the power I need. I have power over myself. I have power over my life, my time, my thoughts, my heart. That's the source of true power. So yeah, that's what this Emperor is. He's sitting back, right, on his throne. He's sitting back. He doesn't have to prove anything. Nothing to prove. So that's your to-do list. Get really feeling very secure in who you are. That could take a couple decades. I don't know if you're going to get that done in the next couple weeks, but that's where you're going. You're going into that self-possessed mode of just mad. Oh, I always, when I was working with this card at the beginning, this is big dick energy. This is, I don't have anything to prove. I don't have anything to prove. I've already got it. So this is the opposite of that. I don't really want to talk about that, but this is the opposite of that. This is like jumping around, yelling about how great you are and how amazing you are and how powerful you are. And then where we're going here, Six of Cups. This is an emotional arm load. Connection, connecting with our past, coming back. This is a waitress coming back with this arm load full of emotions and feelings. And you've put an order in a long time ago, maybe when you were the Empress. And here's your waitress. She's coming back with what you ordered. Very emotionally fulfilling. She's going to come back and you're going to be like, did I order that? Huh. I did. It's delicious. I'm very good at ordering. So that's what's coming in for you, the Six of Cups. All right, let's move over to the Kuan Yin. These readings are so long this week, but I'm enjoying them. They feel good to me. They feel right. So I hope you feel the same about this reading. If you don't connect with it, like I said, check your other major placements or dig a little deeper, because this could be one where I could totally see someone who really needs this message being like, no, that's not me. I'm fine. I'm fine. So, ooh, I like this. Oh, this is my favorite. My favorite picture by this artist. We have this river, we have this dance, we have this river flowing. Be bold. If we have been taught, which I love this is this guy. But he's not being bold in a like, I'm going to be bold. He's like I just am bold. That's all. If we've been taught to always settle for less than what we dream of, we may wonder if living a boldly optimistic life is unrealistic. This is what being taught, this is what I was talking about with this card. Being taught to settle for less. Living a boldly optimistic life is unrealistic. But you are an adventurer, a divine explorer on the wild path of life. You have been created with those bold dreams in your heart, and you are meant to fulfill them with the loving encouragement and support of life. I love that. Grow those carrots, healthy, beautiful carrots that everybody's going to want at the farmer's market. All right, Leo, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments. And if you've made it this far, you especially need to subscribe. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. I think, man, I've got a really busy week coming up. So we'll see how many I get done.